Little update here. I'm currently sitting in the tractor. We are actually doing a oil change in the field right now. So while they are doing that, I jumped in to eat my Subway before we got back on the road. I did get the bearing fixed on my wheel axle. If the wind dies down outside, I'll show you guys what happened, but yeah, so we got that fixed finally and came over here to start this one. We just finally hit the 200-hour break-in oil change on this tractor. So we just decided that it was best just to do the oil change here in the field quick while everything was still warm, and then get right back at it. See here, it's about 5:30 now. I've been running pretty hard for the last 3 hours or so. And what we're doing here is, if you look, you can see the ground's really crusted. If you take your foot and step on it, it doesn't really break up very well. And what we're doing is just running through and trying to get that crust broke up and kind of buried under. So that way, when you step, you can see your footprint a lot better. And that's going to be a lot nicer of a soil for it to work in when you plant. And to give you a little update on what I broke back here. Okay, that green piece there is the axle hub. And what had happened is somehow that dust cover, the little round bed on the end, popped off and all the grease came out. And while I was going down the road, then if it doesn't have any grease, it doesn't have any lubrication, and it got really hot. And that burned off, and then the axle itself burned up and kind of got bent. So we had to replace it there, and you can see how that part's yellow now out inside the gray circle there, and then the end cap's gray as well. So that's all brand new that we put on this morning. So, and that's kind of what one of these axles look like. This centerpiece right here, that oscillates up and down, so it gives you suspension. And then that's what one of the gangs look like. Here, I just got the field that I was working in finished and about ready to hit the road. Just thought I'd do a little quick video on one of our corn planters. So this is the typical setup that we have. We have 5 of them like this. We have 3 that are this style. This is a 24 row on 30-inch spacings. Then we have 2 that are 36 rows. And then we have an 18-row 3-point mounted that I featured in yesterday's video. So most of our tractors are a 370R. And the big yellow things on the side of it is a saddle tank. So corn requires nitrogen, and a lot of nitrogen, to grow well. So what we have is the saddle tanks on the side of the tractor there, and then that tank right behind it between the 2 split ones, that round tank, that's also a liquid fertilizer tank. So I don't know how much they're putting on per gallon. That's something I would like to know, but I don't. And so that's filled up with liquid fertilizer. The 2 split tanks in the back are seed. And then it actually blows it like a, I don't know how to explain it. The tanks there are actually pressurized in a vacuum, and then it blows it out to each of the individual seed rows. The neat thing to mention about this planter is you can see that green with the little yellow bubble right there in between the 2 tanks. That's a GPS receiver. So the neat thing about this planter is there's always one GPS unit on the tractor cab. That goes with anything of our new equipment. The neat thing is the planter has a second one. So with that, you can pinpoint exactly where the planter is in relation to the tractor. So what that allows you to do, when coupled with this slide hitch right here, which you can kind of see the hydraulic rams right there. So that allows you to know if the planter is drifting left or right in comparison to the tractor. and just due to like interference with GPS and stuff. And judging off of that difference, you can slide, or the computer will slide that hitch back and forth to make sure it is directly where it needs to be. That's extremely important when we come back to do our field cultivating and stuff like that with our organic passes, since we aren't allowed to spray herbicide. And here's one of our big fertilizer tanks that I was talking about. And those two tanks back there are our seed tanks. Here's the back side of the planter. And here's one of the row units. So you can see that as the tube coming down, that comes from the main tank. And then the little yellow thing here that says E-set, that's kind of like a holding tank, just to provide a little bit of buffer between the seed coming out of the main tanks and the seed going into the ground. And then I'm not going to pop it open, but right there, that circular thing, inside there is a disc with little holes in it, and each hole holds a single kernel. And then that allows you to have pinpoint precision on where each kernel is being placed, because corn grows better when each kernel is away from each other and not together. Then you come down to the front here. So those are called a row cleaner. So what that does is, if you're planting a no-till, that allows you to throw the trash and debris from last year's crop out of the way. So that way you have a clean area to plant your seed. And then that's also a part of it right there, I believe. Then the two silver discs there, well, there's one on this side and one on the back side there. Those are your opening wheels. So they make a little slit. They're at an angle. I don't know if you guys can see that. You can kind of see a little bit that they're kind of split into a V. So that creates a little V for the seed to drop down inside of. And then that makes your little furrow. And then the big wheels right here on the side, those are your closing wheels. Or sorry, no, those are not. Those help pack the sides of the furrow together, right there. And then these back here are your closing wheels. So those pinch the furrow shut. See? You can kind of see those help pinch the furrow shut. So that way nothing can get in it from the top, and you have good seed to soil contact. And everything can be adjusted, and on this one there's 24 of them. So I'm gonna get on the road here. I got about a 20-25 minute move, about 15 miles north, and then we're gonna be done for the day. So